All right, so we're here with former Purdue legend and captain and all of the above, Rapheal Davis. Ray, hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Just kind of tell us what you're up to nowadays, first off.
Nowadays, I've kind of transitioned to just a pure basketball mentor, just a
Hmm.
pure basketball trainer, basketball coach, basketball mentor, giving advice to guys, want to see guys, just kind of just immerse myself back into basketball. No longer in the corporate world. That happened last week, so now I just kind of got back into. I've kind of got back a rhythm of basketball that I once had when I was young, and I'm trying to do everything that I said I would do.
Are you trying to coach one day, or what's sort of your ultimate destination here?
My ultimate my ultimate plan with basketball is to use basketball to open up a school, kind of similar to what LeBron James did. So being able to use that to open up a school for in my community back home with a lot of young boys, young girls, just giving them a better environment, a safer environment, but also just a better transition to college than after
Right.
college. But also with basketball, I mean, obviously my ultimate goal is obviously being a Purdue head coach, but taking steps to get there. Yeah, I always got to. Yeah, this is my first time telling Payne I want his job, but yeah. So
Might have to
doing things now, leading into it, just getting back into basketball full time, doing what I can now, building, and just continue to build and just go from there.
might want to have to might have to wait on that Purdue job a couple decades.
Oh yeah, no, I got time.
Hey, just when you work with young guys, I've asked you this before. What do you try to impart on them? What do you want them to know about the game and life and whatever?
My biggest thing to the kids, I mean, no matter the age, is that life is bigger than basketball. I mean, basketball is a tool that'll take you
Right.
places in life, whether you're a player or a coach. I mean, Drew Anthrop has an NBA championship ring. So that's all those things where you can use basketball as a tool. But when it comes to basketball, knowing the fundamentals and having that real strong fundamental base, I spend a lot of time there. I'm not a guy that's going to throw out a lot of cones, get you real tired, and go through a lot of handle dribbles that's unrealistic in the game.
Right.
As we really break it down from the very beginning. I mean, if you can't make a one dribble pull up and make 85% of your free throws and make an open three pointer, no matter how well you can handle the ball, you're going to struggle at one point in your career. So, I
Right.
mean, we break it down all the way to the beginning. I worked with a lot of different shooting coaches, so I can use that to my strength and give that to the kids and give that back. So, shooting, confidence building, something I struggled with for my first 2 years at Purdue. So, definitely that's, I would say, bigger than basketball. Life is bigger than basketball, and then confidence will be second.
Right.
Confidence building, and then just the fundamental of basketball.
Right. I know you've kind of been around Purdue a little bit this summer, fall. I guess it's fall now, isn't it?
Mm.
Um, it's all run together through the pandemic. What's kind of your relationship with the team now, and what kind of role have you tried to play with some of those guys?
I mean, my role with the team, I mean, I guess I'll say, like I said, just a basketball mentor. Just so
Yeah.
some of the guys reach out to me whenever they want. I had Travion. Well, I didn't have him. Travion reached out to me last week, and we were able to get on a Zoom call an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just
No.
him doing some stuff for class, but then him just also asking me some questions about Coach Painter. It was I never talked to Travion in an in-depth way, and I'm very for where he is this year. No questions I mean, for a player to ask a former player, how do you get your coach to trust you more, and you're the horse on that team? I mean, you more. You
Wow.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for him. But then with Eric, I mean Eric's family. So our relationship goes from before Purdue and after Purdue. But I mean, being in his ear just constantly, just letting him know that you the captain, even if you're not the captain. The guy's gonna look to you, especially the young guys, making sure he's ready for young guys to look at him as he did me one day back in the
Mm.
day. So really just making sure he's ready mentally because I know he'll be good on the court. I know his skill is what it is. Making sure Eric's ready to lead. But then also with Aaron, I mean Aaron's a guy too that I talk with and have trained with is that just kind of getting him back confident. I think a lot of what Aaron went through last year, I think he missed a few shots to start the season, and I think that stuck with him. And I mean,
Yeah.
he's a very open, upfront kid, very honest, and I understand. I understand. So just being that guy that can just kind of feed confidence through him when I'm in Indiana, getting shots up with him, working on his shot, working on Eric's shot, working on Travion's free throw, And just with Isaiah's been in their group message with myself, PJ, their dad, and Coach Brantley all summer. So I mean, Isaiah seen a difference, an art side, that an aggressive, argumentative side. So just being around, just talking to PJ, talking to Grady. I mean, I'm still a part of the program. I mean, I don't know if alumni are supposed to stay this close, but I mean, I still feel like the Purdue family is as close to me as it's been since I left.
You kind of be sort of a de facto leadership coach for some of these guys. We've talked before about that's something Purdue has to sort of grow into this year. Right?
Right. Yeah, that's something even right now, that's something that I guess I never put those words to it, but just being a leadership coach, I mean, just to anybody that needs it, that's something that Purdue, the locker room necessarily didn't show a lot of last season. But I think this year, the leadership, I think the camaraderie between the leaders, the camaraderie between the team, I think it's a little bit better. But I think, for me, I would say leadership coach, any way you want to spin it, yeah.
What's it say about your legacy at Purdue that you have these dudes who you didn't play with who are just kind of coming to you? You know?
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, that's quite a legacy.
To me, that's the craziest part because I think I only averaged 6 points. So to me, it's like I think I averaged 6 or 7 points a game for my career. So it's like I think I shot 30% from the field my last year at Purdue. So it's like for me not to be a guy that was drafted, for me not to be a guy that averaged 20, 25 points, even for me not to be a guy that played 5 years, 10 years overseas, is that I had a corporate job and these guys are still coming to me for basketball. So for me, it's that they respected how I went about it and they respected how I played the game. But they also, I think they respected that when they were recruits and when they were in high school, when they were young kids, being a captain on the team, I never acted as if I was a college basketball captain. It was, come on, Eric. Come on, Aaron. Like, I'm going to call him on the phone. I helped Eric with one of his senior projects over the phone. I showed up to his lunch. So it's one of those things where, like I said, these relationships to me are always bigger than basketball. And I think any player or any parent, I think they see that with me.
Right. Why is it so important to you to keep helping Purdue?
Because to keep helping Purdue, I mean, I committed when I was, 14, 15?
14.
And,
15, I think.
15, after my freshman season. So for me, paint, I tore my meniscus in high school. Now, we didn't release it to the media. We didn't tell anybody. Paint stood next to me. Paint didn't even – I mean, I don't know if they thought about it behind closed doors, but they could have ended my scholarship right then. I mean, Paint came to games even after I committed all 4 years. I mean, Coach Owens came to ask me. Coach Owens still calls me to this day, asks me about my daughters, asks me about my fiance. So it's a thing where they've taken it beyond basketball. And also the point where I know we almost lost Coach Payne's job. I mean, just simple as that. I was there. I was in that locker room. So, but then I also know that also was one of the hardest years of my life when I had my daughter. And like I said, Payne stood by me in one of the hardest years probably of his career. So in the sense of that next year, I had the best year of my career and I do all I could to bring Purdue back. And at this point, I could let nothing stand between that or even just the success of the players. So for me, it's that one of these players chose Purdue, and I told their parents that if you choose Purdue, you'll be taken care of. So I said that to them. So I have to keep that word. But then two, I don't want these players to come to Purdue and not take advantage of everything that's at Purdue.
Right.
Because I was able to do that when some players weren't. So one is about opening, making sure Eric is taken care of by Bobby, who's his advisor. So it's one of those things where Bobby's was my advisor. So making sure these players get into find majors that make sense. So to me, it's always been, because to me, after Purdue, whether they play professional basketball or not, they should be able to affect their community. And a lot of these players come from different types. Like Travion comes from a different community where he can go back and have a lot of change. So I don't know if that answered it, but for me, Purdue has always been since I was 13 when I met the staff. I mean, I don't know if people remember, but I was there, Lusk, Coach Ray. Like I was Coach Owens' first season. I was Coach Owens' very first commit.
Yeah.
So it just goes back. And once I'm a loyal guy, and once you have it, you have it.
Seeing you as an adult makes me feel 100 years old.
I still remember you at the me and Dewan Marrero, the guy with the backpack, the Purdue guy with the
Yep.
backpack. We didn't know your
And
name at first. Yeah.
AJ Hammonds when you could get him out of bed in the
Yep,
morning.
but he would show up to the tournaments. Yep, that was our freshman. We were going from our 8th grade year.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So part of you kind of becoming more of a basketball mentor is your camp in Fort Wayne. Maybe tell us about that a little bit and what you're trying to get done and
Right.
why you enjoy that.
And for me, I train a lot in Georgia. I have 30, 40 kids where I train on a weekly basis. And I see basketball in Fort Wayne, but I don't necessarily see basketball in my community.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying it's not on my side of town, but saying with the kids I grew up with their parents. So in my high school community, in my middle school, my elementary school community, I don't see it there. So for me, is I'm bringing change to the community I'm in Forsyth County, Georgia, a northern suburb. Is that my daughter lives in Fort Wayne, and I was thinking, how could I bring change there? So, having a basketball camp was something I always wanted to do. It's something I always told my grandfather I would do. He passed recently from cancer, so it's one of those things where I put into motion a basketball camp, and I just put it out there to kind of feel how the feeling behind it, but also had a plan behind it. Was that the Fort Wayne Community Schools is the school system I was in, and elementary, middle, it's the same exact school system my daughter. She met my 2nd grade teacher her first day of school. So for those kids, I want to take 50 of those kids and have them go to a basketball camp for free, because not all of them, but some of those kids have never been to a camp where you had to pay money for it. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows, I mean, it's just to call a spade, that different camps, sometimes the better camps may cost a little bit more money if they come with different type of instruction. So I know there's a kid at Southside High School that I went to that's never been to a basketball camp with a kid from Bishop DeWinger. I never saw Grady Eifert at a basketball camp. We were both 2 good basketball players. So a sense of growing up, I wanted to out, because the basketball camp is not specific to my community. I'm just allowing 50 kids, and I'm raising money in my community and raising money outside of my community to pay for those kids to come for camp. So they can mix in with the Bishop DeWinger kids, with the Homestead kids from the west side, with the New Haven kids from the east side, kids that they naturally wouldn't necessarily be around, but sometimes you make your best friends at camp.
Right.
And I see this as an opportunity to allow young kids, especially elementary age kids, meet someone from a different side of the town. You may make friends with them. You may visit their house, and then you may learn about an entirely different side of the town. Because there are kids in my community where going to Speece is going out of town for them, and it's only 15, 20 minutes away. So, but there's also kids on the north side of town that won't cross south of Pontiac or Creighton Street. So to me, it's building a gap where it's just a natural gap. It has nothing, no blue, no red, no president, no politics. It's get the kids in the same gym, let them figure it out now. By the time they're 15, 16, they've been going to camp together since they were 8.
Right.
That tension is gone.
Right.
So it's the sense of trying to, and also building a sense of community and letting my community know that, one, I'm from this community, I give as much back to it, but also if we do this together and build ourselves, and one, since we've been raising the money ourselves, a few sponsors have reached out, a few people have reached out. So it's, you show people you're doing it yourself and you're building your own community. One, it brings more people to help you, but then also it just gives you a sense of community, a sense of confidence that we don't need help. If we all put something in the pot, we can help our youth and send them to basketball camp for the next 20 years. Right. And the basketball camp just isn't a basketball camp. Like I said, I'm kind of transitioned to a basketball mentor where I do have corporate relationships. So I do want corporate people to come and speak, because not everybody at that basketball camp will get a Division I scholarship, not even an NAIA scholarship. Someone will have to be the banker. Someone has to be the janitor. Someone has to be the president of the janitorial company. So a sense of opening kids' eyes to more than basketball, and at that camp, and at all of my future camps, definitely having the aspect of something that's bigger than basketball and doing something with basketball other than playing basketball is going to be a big key in the camp.
Right. What's the date and stuff again?
December 28th through the 30th will be my camp in Fort Wayne at Speece Fieldhouse. It's a Monday. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the reason I'm doing it that way is that, like I said, a lot of kids where, two-parent household, two parents are working. Christmas break, you're at home alone.
Right.
So get a kid somewhere to go all day. But also, I mean, some kids, when their parents are home, they don't know how to cook. So make sure they get a light breakfast. Make sure they get a lunch. We're trying to set up some trucks outside to send them home with some food. So just trying to make it just more than just if only 10 kids show up, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
So trying to make it just more than a basketball camp, give an opportunity for parents to come and bring your kid, give them a safe place to go so you don't have to worry about something happening at home while you're at work. But just also let this be a start to it's kind of a tradition in our community.
Right. Right. I got you. Well, Ray, I think that's all I wanted to ask you, man. I sure appreciate your time as always. And
I appreciate you. Thank you.
we'll see you around, okay?
I appreciate it, Brian.
Thanks, man.